Under the Scope.
Hey everybody, it is Jared and Shane, that's me. It's another Scope movie review. We are on the road, I am driving, Jared's in the passenger seat, and we are taking on the lighthearted comedy romp Dunkirk, where all sorts of fun mischief happens.
Oh, yes.
Sneaky guys and bombs are dropping, but everybody does it with a heart of gold, Jared.
I think you've summed it up perfectly.
4 stars. Jared, that is not what Dunkirk is about.
Right.
It's actually a historical drama, Nolan's latest, as I think I may have said. It takes place in WW2. And
Correct.
It tells the tale...
The early stages of WW2.
Yes, and it tells the tale of what, Jared?
So, the British Expeditionary Force and the French Army have been on mainland Europe fighting the Nazis, but they've been losing, they've been pushed back, and they've been pushed all the way back to the town of Dunkirk, which I believe is in France. And they're basically surrounded, then their only way out is the sea. The problem is that the water is very shallow there, so there's really only one place that they call the mole, which is like a pier.
I didn't even know that.
There's really only one place where they can load up a big ship. So, obviously, there's like 400,000 people trapped here, and it's just easy pickings. The German Air Force is dive bombing them, blowing up ships. They're having a hell of a time getting out, and it's really a crisis point for the British Army because most of their fighting force is there, and if they lose it, then the chances that the British Isles will fall increases greatly. Mm-hmm. So there's panic, and they're trying to figure out how to get people out of there. So what they end up doing is they end up calling up the civilian ships, all these little pleasure boats. And I should say that the island is only 23 miles away across the channel, so it's not that far away. It's choppy water, but it's possible for these small boats to make the trek across the English Channel and pick up people. So we end up following a couple different groups. We have some groups of soldiers or individuals who end up sort of meeting up and becoming a group on the beach. We follow their various paths to try to get on a boat and try to get out of here. We've got a RAF fighter wing of 3 planes, starts as 3. May not end up that way.
Right.
Oh, they have a skate park here. And what they're doing, trying to fight off Nazi planes that are trying to bomb ships and whatnot. And then we've got a family on one of these small little civilian boats. You've got the dad, who is probably, I would just say, definitely old enough to have probably fought in or at least been impacted by the First World War.
Right.
His son, and I think a friend of theirs, a young lad named George.
Seemed to me maybe a neighborhood orphan. I don't really know for sure.
Right. And to be fair, this movie isn't big on huge character arc developments. It takes place in a very finite period of time in very extreme circumstances. So you get little bits and pieces of people's stories as the film plays out. But it's not necessarily about characters. It's about this whole scenario.
Yeah, it's the characters are snippets. You get a feel for them.
Yep.
You get a feel for the story, but it is really about the narrative of the war and this very short time in which people are being pushed through it.
Yep.
Did you say who stars in this film?
I did not.
Okay.
So some of the notable names, you've got Kenneth Branagh as a British admiral, James Darcy, which you know him from what's the show with not Agents of the Shield, but Agent Carter.
Yep.
Who else?
So far, you're not naming any of the young, handsome lads.
Harry Styles was in it,
and the main character kid. I don't even I know he's a British.
Yeah.
He's a British actor who was in stuff in Britain, but I don't even know his name.
And it's hard to be fair, it's kind of hard to keep track of who's who at times, which is probably intentional. I mean, again, it's not important that that you follow any certain person through this story because it's really more about the experience as a whole.
Correct.
And Tom Hardy shows up somewhere in this film.
Yep.
I'll let you figure out where it is.
Correct. So, I mean, there are spoilers in the sense that we know that people escape from Dunkirk.
Yeah,
right?
It's a historical piece, and we know how it comes out.
Yep. And I will say that this is something that's been in the review, so we're not giving it away. It's a non-linear telling of the story. I mean, you're going to hit different things at different times.
Right. I didn't really realize that was the case at first until I was confused because it was cutting between daylight and
Yeah,
darkness.
that was your first
and I'm like,
hint.
what's going on? And all of a sudden we see one, oh, I forgot Cillian Murphy is also in it.
Yep. The Scarecrow, Jared.
We see him, yeah, the Scarecrow, exactly. We see him, he's rescued by our little civilian boat crew from a ship, and then quickly later we cut to a night scene, and he's on another, like a rowboat, like commanding people. So you're like, that's sort of your real first clue, like, okay, this is not being told exactly in order.
Yeah.
And then that the cross-cutting and time jumping sort of gets more frantic as the film progresses.
Yeah. This movie plays more like A Thin Red Line than it does Saving Private Ryan, I feel like. I mean, there is an artistic bent to it.
Absolutely.
It's not always crazed battle action. I think the most you probably get from that is the fighter plane stuff. And then, of course, there's a lot of carnage and a lot of water and ship sinking. A lot of, character studies within moments.
Yeah, but for the most part, like, the German army is off.
Yeah.
Off somewhere.
Yeah, like
you don't see a lot of them.
You don't even see any Germans in this movie.
You saw a couple. You see them
very briefly in the beginning, maybe, and that's about it.
And at the end.
And at the end. Yes.
But they're definitely not. They're there. They're the menace. They're the jaws are closing in, but they are not the focus of this.
I don't even know if Germany, the word Germany or Nazi, is even mentioned in this film. And in the beginning, when you have the opening credits, they just say the enemy.
That's true.
It's not mentioned. So it's definitely trying to tell the story of these British soldiers and French soldiers in there.
Very much, they are the focus of it. So.
Right. So what did you think of this film, Jared?
I loved it.
You loved it.
I come into it biased in favor of, big World War II spectacle films to begin with.
You're a wonk of that stuff.
I liked how it was shot. We saw it in 70mm, and at first I was like, is this really worth it? I don't know. And then the film started, and we could hear the projector, which was weird. But, the film's loud enough for the most part, that sort of recedes. Mm-hmm. And I think that just the experience of it being on film, projected, you get the grain, you get the little light flickering.
Even though it's a new print. I mean,
I know.
It was hard. It wasn't like you were watching something that was really old.
But I think it enhanced the viewing of this particular subject matter. Sort of gave it a bit of an age to it, which was nice. I don't know. I think the performances were great. Mm-hmm. It's an intense film.
Yes, it is.
This film is,
and it's still even that is sanitized. I mean, there's definitely sanitized war stuff in here. It's not as graphic as Saving Private Ryan.
No, there isn't really like gobs of blood or anything like that. People getting their limbs blown off or anything like that. It's more about the heroism and the. There's a character at the end says, "Good job, lads," or whatever, and I think it was Harry Styles, or it says, "Well, for what? We didn't do anything." Yeah. And he says, all we did is survive. Yeah. He says, that's enough.
Right.
So that's the whole point is it's about survival. It's about, getting through it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with everything that you say. I do have a couple of slight caveats to it, though.
Here we go.
Is that I actually found it hard to understand what people were saying sometimes.
I did, too.
And I don't know if that's just me not being British, or if it was the sound mix, or whatever it was, but I didn't always follow. And then the other thing is that I think the cross-cutting was interesting, but I don't always think that it was clear what was happening in the action. Like, I understood a lot of what was going on, but there were sometimes things that were happening that I didn't get. Maybe I've pieced it together towards the end, but I don't think that the narrative, even with the cross-cutting, was as clear to me. I mean, even just within the scene, sometimes the action, I was confused on what was happening.
Because there's a sequence late in the film where you're seeing things from one perspective, and then you almost kind of go like rewind, and you see it from another perspective, and then you might see something that happens later, and then you might jump back and see how that part got set up. I found it from a filmmaking standpoint, I found it really, really interesting.
Yes.
And it's I don't know how you put something like that together. You really have to map it out and really think about it.
Yep.
I do agree. Sometimes you lose track a little bit of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm still not 100% sure of what the purpose of it was, other than to sort of reinforce the chaos of the situation.
Yeah,
so if there's something more going on to that, I didn't get it, but it was interesting.
Yeah,
very much so.
Yeah, it was interesting. So I think what our takeaway on this is we have another successful summer movie.
I think we do.
The quality of 2017 is exceptional, or at least we're seeing the good ones.
Yes, absolutely.
let Jared and I ponder what this score will be.
The Scope score is 3.5 stars.
3.5 stars, guys. It's a broken record, but
right
that's
here.
how good it is.
A lot of 3.5-star films. We've said it before, and we'll say it again. A lot of 3.5-star
Yeah, we will.
films for us this summer.
It's crazy. Jared, if people want to really dig into the conspiracy theory that is scope3.5stars.com, what do they do?
Like, comment, and subscribe down below.
It's just that easy.
What do we got coming up on our plate? I think we're seeing Atomic Blonde next week.
Atomic Blonde.
I still have to record my review of Valerian. I saw that a couple days
You
ago.
have to do that, Jared.
There's the bus. I bet your
I
daughter's
told
on
you,
that bus.
timing is good.
Is Carrie here?
Yep,
too?
I saw Carrie down
All right.
there.
So, yeah.
So there we go.
I don't know. We might have some stuff in August, but
We'll just
we'll
let
have
it
to see
rip.
what happens.
Correct. So for Jared, I am in Shane. I am in Shane. Hep. We'll be back with more Scope summer reviews and possibly more Scope this summer. So be ready for that. So until then, keep watching the Complete Culture Cast. Bye for now.